Sunday.
Okay, I'll come down tomorrow. Where are you gonna be at?
Probably on Mission Street there somewhere.
Okay, I'll find it.
And then,
I was wondering.
and then maybe down at the Dollar General.
Okay,
Want to call to order?
time?
6:05.
I'll have a roll call. Director Calvins?
Present.
Director Davis?
Here.
Director Baker?
Here.
Director Gregory?
Here.
President Smiley?
Here.
I need a motion to approve a regular meeting agenda.
So approved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none? We'll move on. I'm moving this along.
Absolutely. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. In turn, face the flag. Hats off, right hand over your heart. Veterans may salute. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Public comment, communication for the items not on the agenda. Persons wishing to speak on a matter not on the agenda may be heard at this time. However, no action will be taken until placed on a future agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Please sign in at the lectern and address us if you have something to say. Anybody have anything? Of course. Of course.
That's the horse of the horse.
The horse of the horse.
I kick the meeting out somehow, all right?
All right, young Sheldon.
I'm not sure if that's an alternate.
I'm just taking out run with it.
Thank you so much, Ford. My name is Greg Rowe. I'm from Crescent area. And I wanted to bring up something that just happened the other day. So finally, after a multi-week delay, the annual report for the Groundwater Sustainability Agency finally came out, the draft review, so that the public can see it. It was supposed to come out on the 9th for the board, and then it was supposed to come out on the 16th for the public. And I don't know that any of you have seen it or want to review it or understand what's in it. But it's really important to look at the figures and the facts that are in this, because there's 6 previous reports. So this is number 7. And they maybe change 10 to 20 pages for $100,000 and then kick out the same report every year. So I would hope that your board would look at it and have questions. I mean, just one example is, last year we were in 117,000 deficit on the basin. This year we're at 120,000 plus in the basin. That's a swing of like 240,000 acre feet of water. So this is why this year-to-year micromanaging doesn't make sense, because everything's based on a long period of time, not individual years, good years, bad years, and whatever. And that's just one little thing that's in there on what we're trying to do as a group. And I know later on when we go into the GSA stuff, we'll be talking about your guys' vote on what you're going to allow or not allow other people to do for you. But I hope, I understand your board represents this community and is supposed to do what's best for this community, and I don't want anything less than that. But I would hope that you understand that these other guys depend on you to help pay for their stuff that doesn't benefit you. And that you would look at that, and if there's ever any questions, this stuff that's in this report, I would hope that somebody would reach out. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. The special presentation says there's none, so we'll move on to non-district reports, San Luis Obispo County organizations.
How's it going? Sergeant Strawbridge with the Sheriff's Door Station. I have some statistics this time, nothing too impressive. So the same period, basically last year in this time period between January and now, we had about 150 calls for service in San Miguel, or sorry, correction, 138 calls, 150 calls so far this year, about a 9% increase. 22 reports taken so far. The last month period, 17 last year, about 9% increase. Reference to calls, we've had 2 incidents of assault and battery, it ended up being domestic related. About 20 calls for service regarding disturbance calls, loud music and fighting. 1 reported burglary, 2 incidents of vandalism, and 4 calls related to suspicious circumstances. Other than that, if you have any questions, happy to answer if I can, or I can get the information and answer the next meeting.
Hey, good, thanks for coming. Anything or have none?
Thank you, first of all, thank you for coming and doing a report, and then also, it's probably not part of this report, of your report, but I understand you guys and our fire department had to go fish some people out of the creeks again, so thank you for doing that.
Oh, our pleasure. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Have your report.
Maybe I don't give this to you?
Yeah, he does it.
I know, that's what,
She's not
I
gonna
realize how much it costs to pull them out of the river. They're low to get out.
I got out when they told me. Any other community services organization?
Community service organization, not the sheriff's department, but I started out San Miguel Firefighter Association, but originally for the association, we did manage to pick up some additional exercise equipment for the guys, so we have some free weights in there, and we are planning for our Safe Fresh Days Parade on April 20th at noon. So if you're interested, we'll be posting information shortly. Waiting for that permit to get processed with the County Public Works. They're usually pretty quick about it though. And if you have to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions? No, thanks.
Thank you.
Do you have anything for the last
Not this time, sorry.
And I don't have a report on Rios Caldona until we get out of this rain.
I could ask one, I don't know if Ms. Gregory wants to talk. I understand like the advisory council, the Pleasant Valley Wine Trail gives a report. I don't know if you know anything about that organization.
Yes. Well, I could give a couple of different reports, or just, so at the mission, Father Lucas has asked me to help out with a fundraising event to help out for the earthquake retrofit. So over 20 years ago, there was a massive earthquake, as we all know, and it jarred the mission to the point where the mission was uninhabitable. They retrofitted over the last 20 years the church, the front wing, the back wing, but we still have 2 side wings of the quadrangle. So we're doing a fundraiser on June the 1st. It's going to be a seated dinner with silent auction, live auction, and to help raise awareness and monies for the retrofit. So that's on June the 1st. There is also another event coming up. It's going to be for the Pleasant Valley Wine Trail. We're benefiting for the art, youth arts, and that is going to be on May the 17th. Yes, May the 17th. And it is going to be Twilight tastings, and it's going to be at Four Sisters Winery. And so that's going to be a nice, past appetizers and wine tasting, so.
Renee,
Thank you, Director.
is it for the Youth Arts Foundation at Pastorals?
Yes.
Okay, and if somebody wants to get a hold of tickets for the mission,
Yeah, so for
Where
the
are they?
mission, it's going to be, it's not up yet, but it will be on Eventbrite. The tickets for the Twilight tastings
that
are on
right?
Eventbrite, yes.
I try to put things in on my minutes if needed.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody here from Camp Roberts?
Nobody's here from Camp Robertson.
Staff and committee reports, receive and file, general manager.
Only have a couple things for you guys. We received notification from California Special Districts Association, Coastal Network, and for Special District Risk Management Authority. 2 seats that are available, 1 for each. Both of them would be nominated by the board. If anybody is interested in being nominated for that, then we would have to put that on the March agenda. So if you are interested, come see me, we'll fill out the paperwork, and we can bring it back to March for a board vote on a nomination from this board.
What's it for again?
One of them is for CSDA, California Special Districts Association, a seat on their board. And one is for Special District Risk Management Authority, a seat on that board. The CSDA, I'm not sure how long the term is for that. SDRMA is a 3-year term.
How often did they meet?
I don't have that right now, but if you are interested, let me know and we can get that information to you.
All right, great.
It is, most of the SDRMA is out of the area. There is only a few you have to actually go to, but it does require travel. Other than that, that's what I have.
Okay. Any questions?
I'll bring up an important comment, but President Smiley, I know with your own experience with community service organizations that you might actually be a good fit for the CSDA board if you consider running for that. I do know that you only meet, I think it's like 4 times a year.
Okay.
It's like on a quarterly basis, but that might be something you might be interested
Yeah, I might be interested, that's why I asked, yeah.
We'll get you the info.
Okay, great. Okay, public comment? Seeing none, district council?
So we have,
Hello, Chair members, this is Tom Hallahan from Churchwell White, White Renner. Nothing to report tonight. If I do drop off, it's because I'm trying to get my camera to work.
Oh, is that what's going on?
okay.
All right, thank you.
All right. That's it then? Anybody have anything? District council comment, public comment?
Yeah, I don't know if this is, I'm sorry, Greg Grable. Thank you, board. I don't know if your council has spoken to you yet. On January 29th, there was a preliminary decision by Judge Kerwin in the quiet title action, which again proved that the 750 property owners prevailed in their case against prescription against them and kept their rights. And so I'm curious, how long is your board going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to win nothing? And did your constituents that your ratepayers or your water people that get water and sewer, was there a 218 vote that they wanted to vote to be in this lawsuit after you spent almost $1 million? And how long are you going to continue this after 6 legal actions that you've lost every single one of them? And when is this going to end? And what is your legal counsel telling you about any of this stuff? So it was a 15-day period where people could object or ask questions or whatever on this decision from the judge. Okay, this has been almost 11 years. The plaintiffs have spent $3 million. The defendants have spent $16 million, and you guys didn't win nothing. You won 2,067 acre feet of water out of 92,000 acre feet of water. What did you get? Why did you do it? Why are you continuing? Why do you want to continue? And when are you going to get on with business of taking care of your community instead of giving them a bill on something that it doesn't go anywhere? Because the amount of water you're going to get's already been settled. Nothing's going to change. And so I'm just curious on what your board wants to do. Thank you.
You were here when that went down, what you got?
Remind the board that that's ongoing litigation, I can't discuss it.
Discuss it.
Steinbeck litigation is ongoing, we cannot discuss it as a board.
So I haven't said anything. I've been through the Brown Act enough times.
Okay.
Director Davis, if you want to.
Any other public comment? Sorry.
No, I'm so sorry. Director Davis, if you wanted to have a conversation about that, you can, under board comment, ask for it to be a discussion and update in closed session.
In closed session.
One that's coming up.
Any other public comment? If not, we'll move on to district utilities.
So you guys have my report. The one thing I have to add is that we were able to finally get all the parts for the San Luis Terrace well, so that was put back together today. So undergo testing and disinfection, and hopefully be put back online in the next couple weeks. We repaired our water line on 11th Street in the K Street alley, and also repaired a manhole on Mission Street. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Owen, anything?
Yeah, I've got one. I can't find it now, but anyway, I was looking at the packet, and it said that you repaired a tank. Is it the one on the hill up there? The SLT tank?
That we repaired a tank?
Yeah. Let's see, it should be on,
But I think you saw that in the financials.
yeah. I had page one, but
It was an
anyway.
inspection. I think it was an inspection.
Yeah, but I understand that. There was an inspection, but then it also said that there was, because like the inspection and everything was supposed to be, I think, $9,500. And if I remember right, that went to $25,000, and some of that was for the repair of a tank.
So there was two different inspections. One for the 0.65 million gallon tank was an inspection and plans and specifications for the recoating of that tank and repair of the damaged sections.
Okay, well,
We
yeah.
also had a inspection of the 50,000 gallon tank, which is just an inspection. Without seeing what you saw, I'm not sure what you're referring to exactly.
Well, it just had repairs on a tank, but it didn't say which tank. So that.
Well, again, if I knew what you had seen and what you're referring to, I'd be more than happy to address it further, but I don't want to misspeak.
I don't either, but.
Are you sure it was in the Director Utilities report and not in the financials as an invoice?
I thought I seen it on page one. It was.
Page 1. So
Yeah.
that's, well, I'd be happy to
Oh,
discuss it with
item
you.
one maybe, financials,
Yeah,
yeah.
could be, yeah.
I'd be happy to discuss it with you after
Yeah.
we identify what it is.
Yeah, I'd like to know. That, I like that tank.
I got no. Is there any other questions from the board?
I have a comment, just that I see that you only have 3 accounts that are in arrears.
At the time of that report.
Oh,
It's a very fluid
Okay.
situation.
well, I was going to say kudos.
So at the time of the last report, I believe it was 20.
Yeah. so
Yeah,
it's-
yeah,
It's on a moving target.
right, no, I understand.
Our office works very hard to keep everybody on track and work with the people who are falling behind to make sure that we don't get to a point of no return.
Right, yeah, no, that's awesome, that's great.
I think it was
Director Baker? No. Do you have anything? No. Comments?
No.
Nothing from me. All right, public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to fire chief report.
Fire chief's report is submitted as written. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Director Baker?
I do have a couple of things, if I may, Mr. President.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Young, I know that we've had...
Trying to see you, there we go.
There we go. Good evening. I understand, based off of what I just mentioned with the sheriff, that there was the incident, I guess people drove around some road closed signs recently and drove into a creek. I also understand that our board has had some back and forth discussions about claims and going after it, because those incidents do cost money. Is that something, I don't know if you can discuss. Are those kinds of incidents that we can actually try and recoup our costs on?
Yes.
Awesome. The other thing I would like to just, if you can touch on, and I think I mentioned it to you before, was just discuss our temporary housing unit at the beach station.
Temporary housing unit is the saga that I wish would end.
I wish it would too.
We are on plan review resubmittal number 4 with our planner map. And we have shifted gears and have a local architect on board. And when I say local, I mean he lives in San Miguel. And he is very interested in seeing this to closure. The final hurdle, the goalpost keeps moving, but the final hurdle is to verify that the structure meets the resiliency that they're looking for. And it's a manufactured home. They are built to be on-road, travel across country. This one literally did. So that's where we're at with that. And with the curb, gutter, and sidewalk conditions, we are in negotiation with a waiver and a potential bonding capacity for a future project. We were able to prove that we're going to do a future project based on our strategic plan. And the strategic plan lays out what that future project is. So they're waiving the curb, gutter, and sidewalk requirements for the Keller property in lieu of the future project. So we're going to have some sort of language that's going to secure that development. And it was part of the project scope we presumed, in conception. The curb, gutter, and sidewalk was obviously something that had to happen for that, but not for this temporary housing unit.
Sure. I want to thank you for all your work in dealing with that and dealing with the county planners. They seem to be like the black hole at times, and that's my own personal opinion from everything. Yeah, I understand that, because it's not just your project on Mission Street. I mean, we talked about in the past, there was supposed to be a restaurant and apartment complex, and we haven't seen anything about that. I understand the planners again were giving trouble. And Mr. Young, you and Ms. Ido both have such very good knowledge about our community design plan and all the standards, and even just planning in general. I find it very frustrating that you guys have to go through this with this county.
I appreciate that. We're getting close, and I feel for anybody who tries to do a project on Mission Street, 100%.
And that's also why, and I'm going to wrap this up, is that, and I'll probably bring up under board comments, is honestly, I mentioned the Area Planning Commission, because I would like to bring those planners directly to this town and have them talk to us, to you guys, because you guys have so much knowledge, and kind of hold the county planning department accountable for what goes on in this community. I would like to, see something like that happen in the long term, and I don't know if that's something that maybe you and can look at. I've mentioned it, in passing, but that's kind of like long term. I don't want projects keep dying. It's so hard just for us to get a project forward, then to have, a private person try to build something. We've had so many projects die in that corridor. We can't get economic development if the county planners keep doing this. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, and maybe if we can figure out something to hold them a bit more accountable.
Come back and talk.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Director Davis?
Yes, I wish you a lot of luck on this and everything, but I still think before we spend another dime, you're into the 3rd year of a 5-year lease on that property.
Yes.
And it's suicidal. I mean, okay, so the guy, you think he's a nice guy, but get it in writing.
We're in the 3rd year of a 5-year lease with 2 1-year extensions beyond. It's in writing.
I think I'd like it longer than that.
At this point, I would too, but I'm gonna let that ride, and when the opportunity comes up, and once we actually see the shovels of dirt turning, we'll re-engage Mr. Keller. I think that's good advice.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's, you know, like I said, you need to have it on paper,
It is.
you know. So,
Thank you.
Anything else, Director?
no, that's okay.
Before I move on to consent calendar, I want to Scott, make sure we're 3 minutes for the public and 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, I was talking, I didn't have the button there. I apologize.
I'm trying to keep some kind of semblance of order here. Moving on to consent calendar, the items listed below are scheduled for consideration as a group and one vote. Any director may request an item to be withdrawn from the consent agenda to discuss or to change the recommended course of action unless an item is pulled for separate consideration by the board. The following items are recommended for approval for further discussion, and we have nothing on the consent calendar for this meeting. Thank you. Next would be board action items. One is going to be monthly financial reports for January 2024, recommended receive and file by the board. Consensus, page 27 through 71.
Good evening. So, yep, the financials are pages 27 through 71. I wanted to highlight page 31 that has the mid-year chart, a good snapshot of where we are at 59% of the fiscal year completed. If you look at that page, the gray bars show our anticipated revenue that we budgeted. The green bars show how much of those revenues we've received through January, and the orange bars show each fund's expenses for comparison. All of these numbers include the mid-year budget adjustments that were approved last month, and also in blue are the percentages of the received revenue budgets. So give you an idea where we are. I do want to note wastewater has the really long gray bar. About 1.2 million of that is in anticipated grants. So what we don't get this year moves on and moves on. So we're not expecting all of that until those go through, to kind of help put that into more of a perspective. I also wanted to mention that we're going to start the budgeting process next week for the fiscal year 2024 through 25. I understand we're still going through the rate study discussion, but we do still have to keep going on with regular business. So you'll get the first presentation of the budget hopefully in April, and we'll keep to our calendar as we do. I also wanted to give a little clarification on our reserves. I think there may be a little confusion about those. We have a reserve policy that outlines the reserves we're supposed to have as a district, what our goals are for each of those funds, and what we're supposed to do with that money. The money is not just available. It has a purpose. We have obligations that money is tied to. And because it's come up a couple times in the rate study discussions, I wanted to mention page 3, section 4 of the reserve policy very specifically states that we cannot use reserves to artificially suppress rates below the cost of service. So please keep that in mind when you're discussing the rate study. I know they're on the cash report and those numbers show up, but that has a purpose separate from the rate study. And as part of the budget presentation, we also give you an update on our reserve positions. So you'll see that in April, and you'll also see that we still have quite a ways to meet those targets. So we're not where we should be with our reserves. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So there's a required number by regulating agencies, we're supposed to keep a reserve, and is it,
We have a policy for our capital reserves and our operating reserves.
Right.
And how much we're supposed to have
we're
for.
required to meet?
Yeah.
Okay. Not supposed to have, but required, right?
I
We're
think
required to
being
do.
too polite, yeah.
Yeah, but required is a better word, I think, for that, so we all understand.